The last step in cellular respiration is called oxidative phosphorylation. So remember all the NADHs and FADH2s that were made in, well, NADH it was made in intermediate step, oxidation pyruvate, as well as citric acid cycle. And FADH2 was made in citric acid cycle. What they're going to do is they're going to come along here. You have to know the place. This is still in, what is it, mitochondria, but this pink, orange space right there is called intermembrane space. There's mitochondria is double membrane bound organelle. So you have outer membrane here. It should be labeled. Yeah. And then you got inner membrane right there. Okay. So that orange portion right there is called inner, what is it? Intermembrane space. Okay, that space is kind of important. So what happened was that all the NADH and FADH2 were made in mitochondrial matrix, the yellow portion right there. So what they're going to do, they're going to come into the interior side of the inner mitochondrial membrane here, and they're going to drop their electron. This yellow arrow right there, this is path of electron flow. Once they lose electron, or once they drop their electron, they now going to become, what is it, oxidized form, NAD plus and FAD. What they're going to do is they're going to go back to the Krebs cycle again to pick those electrons back up and then bring them over here. So they're electron carriers. So they carry electron back and forth. Now, as electrons travel through these proteins here along this membrane, whatever the proton that's inside the matrix, it's going to get pumped out into the intermembrane space. Remember, we're still in mitochondria here. So what happens is that over time, we're going to create proton gradient. There'll be so many protons here compared to the matrix inside. You have what is it, low concentration H plus compared to the high concentration of H plus. And what that gonna create is something called chemiosmosis, or what is it, a proton gradient here. So that all these protons have nowhere to go except they have to go. The only way to relieve that stress is to go through something called ATP synthase. Okay, what they do is they let all the protons go through it, and this is actually like a rotor. It actually spins, and using that power, ADP and inorganic phosphate will combine together and form ATP. This is where most of ATP is made in cellular respiration. Okay, and here's very important portion right there. All the electrons go this way. Okay, there's got to be someone who picks up those electrons. Okay, and who does that? Oxygen does. That's why we have to breathe in oxygen. So oxygen, I just memorize what I'm going to write here. Oxygen, gas, O2, is the last electron acceptor. Memorize that. It's going to come out in quizzes or tests. Okay, so at the end, oxygen is reduced because it's going to receive electron. Okay, so in a way, all the electron that's inside glucose actually went to oxygen. Okay, if there's no oxygen available, if there's nothing to pick up those electrons, what happens is that all the electron will backfire. They're all gonna create a major traffic jam, so that NADH and FADH2 have nowhere to drop their electron to. So all the aerobic respiration, the mitochondrial function will shut down. Okay, that leaves us nowhere for pyruvate to go, except there's a way, fermentation, which is our next topic.